Order this meeting of the City of Quincy Commission. Could we all please stand for invocation?
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this morning, with this day. We thank you for waking us up this morning, starting us on our way, Lord, clothing us in our right mind, Lord. We cancel the assignment of the enemy, Lord. We want things to be done decent and in order. Continue to guide, strengthen us, build us up where we're weak, and Lord, we give you the honor and the praise that you deserve. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. United States of America, and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, can I please have a roll call?
Yes, good evening. Commissioner Dr. Robin Wood, District 1.
Here.
Commissioner Rocky Harris, District 3.
Here.
Commissioner Dr. Beverly Nash, District 5.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Angela Sapp, District 2. Mayor Frida Bass-Prieto, District 4.
Here. Can I get a motion to excuse Mayor Pro Tem Sapp?
Mayor, I make a motion to excuse. Second.
I have a motion before the commission to excuse Mayor Pro Tem Sapp. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 4-0. All right, we have an agenda, an amended agenda, actually. And what is the pleasure of the commission?
Mayor,
Yes.
motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended. It's been properly moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes 4-0. We have no proclamation. Special presentation. This will be for Timothy Ashley to come before us. But before we do, can we please have some explanations from our city attorney?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening to everyone. On October 31st, Chief Ashley was given a written notice of his termination by the city pursuant to 166-0494 that was enacted in 2023. This statute requires a city police chief to be terminated by written notice and also given an opportunity to be heard pursuant to the statute. On November 7, 2023, Chief Ashley informed the city that he would like to be heard. This is now the chief's opportunity to be heard, and he's to be heard fully and completely. Anyone wishing to speak on this item, they must fill out a form by the clerk, and they will be given 3 minutes to speak on this item. Just remind everybody of decorum and respect for each other. This is a serious topic, and it should have serious discussion, but remember, civility and decorum should be adhered to. Thank you so much. Hey, Chief Ashley.
Ashley, can you come forward? Welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Commissioners, citizens, and friends. I'm here tonight for the sole purpose of defending the unjustifiable and unethical termination of my employment as the Chief of Police for the City of Quincy and to combat the false narrative and the notice given to me as a pretext for my termination. First, I would like to tell you all a little bit about myself. I lived in Gaston County for 22 years. I'm a United States Air Force veteran who served overseas and abroad with prestige, honor, and integrity. I have nearly 38 years of law enforcement experience. I have earned the respect of most of my colleagues throughout the years and have fostered lifetime relationships. I retired as a major with the Florida Highway Patrol after serving nearly 27 years and hold the honorary rank of Lieutenant Colonel. During my tenure as Major, Troop H Commander for the North Florida Big Bend area, I was responsible for overseeing and providing leadership for the surrounding 8 counties. Throughout my career, I served in other specialized assignments, such as holding the position of Promotional Assessment Center subject matter expert, human and diversity instructor, staff inspector, and a physical fitness coordinator. Periodically, I was responsible for providing leadership for the entire state of Florida when the FHP colonel was unavailable. I served with the Gaston County Sheriff's Office for 8 years as commander with the rank of captain, with the responsibilities of providing leadership and overseeing all uniformed deputies, the dispatch center, the vehicle fleet, uniforms and equipment, promotional process, accreditation process manager, to name a few. As I stand before you today, I do not know why I was terminated. I read the words written by Mr. Nixon in the notice dated October 31st, 2023. But I need him to be more specific and provide his reasons without vagueness. According to the termination letter, Nixon advised that his reasons for his decision to terminate me are as follows. 1, failure to ensure and maintain a functional work environment characterized by high achievement, supportive leadership, respect for subordinates, and a lack of hostility. 2, failure to satisfactorily manage financial resources to ensure operational effectiveness and productivity. Number 3, failure to satisfactorily ensure adherence to City of Quincy policies governing personnel actions and the use of police budget in the QPD budget. Since being appointed Chief of Police November 2021, under my administration, I have promoted 12 officers, 5 investigators, and 7 supervisors, 2 of which are Hispanic. Former Assistant Chief Mixon, Captain Monroe, Lieutenant Hill, Sergeant Gardner, Sergeant Smith, Sergeant Centeno, and Sergeant Canseco. I have built a foundational team of proven transformational leadership with a collaboration of employees that is a representation of our community. I increased the vehicle fleet with the assistance of the commissioners and outside resources. Through my leadership team, we acquired 23 law enforcement vehicles with an estimated value cost of over $200,000 to enhance our vehicle fleet. The minimum to no cost to the city of Quincy. Whereas before my administration, QPD only had 5 patrol vehicles, which officers had to share between shifts, placing the community at risk of not being able to respond to service calls in a timely manner. And I'll share an example of that, and it happened with Commissioner Harris. It was a shooting on Love Street, not too far from here. And we got on scene, and it was somewhere near shift change. And we had a very good conversation with Commissioner Harris because the officers on scene could not come to the scene to replace the ones because there was not enough vehicles. So that prompted me to figure out how can I come up with a resource and not cost the city anything. And that's where that idea was born. Under my administration, we have established a full-time training coordinator to enhance our professional growth and development, which all my officers have attended training on many occasions. Most modern-day law enforcement agencies operating in the 21st century should have a full-time training coordinator. Why is this important? better trained officers will ultimately limit lawsuits. It will reduce injuries to the officers and to the citizens, and unnecessary negative perceptions of police officers. I established and promoted a juvenile investigator to monitor compliance of our youth who may be failing to comply with their juvenile probation conditions. This position was vital in reducing crime committed by our juveniles in the city of Quincy. Under my leadership, the department reduced crime by 26% in 1 year. That is the best among amongst the Big Bend area. We also yielded an 80% closure rate on our homicides. QPD, in collaboration with other agencies, we have removed nearly 100 illegal firearms off the streets of Quincy. We've closed several drug houses. We've seized and removed drugs from the streets of Quincy. We established a computer lab at the Kelly Campbell Center by acquiring 8 brand new computers from the military surplus program at no cost to the city. This is part of my vision, and this is what we are trying to do here in the city of Quincy. We established a youth foundation to focus on our youth as part of our mission to encourage them to dream and develop skills instead of life of crime. I have revitalized our reserve officer program to assist in personnel shortage, to be utilized for community specialized details, such as parades, concerts, and other activities that take place in our city. These reserve officers basically come at no cost to the city. During 2022-2023 budget planning process, there was $50,000 removed from the Quincy Police Department's budget, despite Commissioner Bass-Prieto recommending this action would be ill-advised. This money was removed under the direction of Nixon, and as of this date, it is unknown where this money went.
Excuse me. Please, let's follow decorum. Miss Millie, can you please mute your phone so that we don't hear what's going on in the background, please? Because you are live now. Miss Millie?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
I have managed reoccurring costs from past administrations that were not properly identified or budgeted. An example was when a former city manager communicated to the commissioners that the amount appropriated by the city commission for a new records management system was not enough because it would cause problems with the police department's budget for final years of this contract. We continue to provide uninterrupted and exceptional services to the citizens while enduring severe manpower shortages and other unforeseen factors. This administration's 21st century policing strategies focused on community policing, high visibility, and traffic enforcement to enhance the safety of our city as evidenced by crime reduction, and again, nearly 100 illegal guns being removed from our city streets. Despite the many challenges with the economy, past practice revisions, and the city's current American Data Group, ADG financial system, under my command, at the end of the year, the police department's budget was in the positive. Although there were several training sessions for all directors to understand how to better navigate the system, the city's finance and budget system still lacks efficiency and needs improvements. which are concerns expressed by most of our city directors. Additionally, I met with former Finance Director Ms. Carty and current Accounts Payable Supervisor Ms. Matthews at least 20 times, not including other staff, QPD staff members, to keep the budget balanced and manageable. The arguments were all the same from each department head and other employees assessing the ADG system. It's confusing, and the bottom line budgetary number changes without clarity. I am a man of principle. I would never undermine, bring dishonor, or disgrace an agency I work for by not adhering to policies. That's just not what I am. I communicated with Nixon several times about previous personnel changes that had been requested by the Quincy Police Department, were authorized, approved, and signed off by previous City of Quincy administrators. Yet Nixon continued his attempt to write his narrative to make it appear that this administration was not following the rules. I have accomplished exactly what I was appointed to do by reducing crime and developing the department into a 21st century law enforcement agency. The facts speak for themselves. The department has been very successful as a department with minimal resources. Minimal resources. My administration has been recognized on many occasions for all the innovative law enforcement strategies which has reduced crime and given the City of Quincy positive interactions throughout the community. Commissioner Harris gave profound recognition for enhancing the vehicle fleet, developing community involvement with its citizens, such as food drives, and the work to improve relationships with our juveniles to decrease crime. Most memorable statement that I love from Commissioner Harris, he quoted, "Chief, I don't know law enforcement, but whatever you all are doing, it is great, and I would do everything I can to help fund the police agency better," end quote. Former Commissioner Dardell communicated time and time again he was so appreciative of our crime reduction strategies with our community walks, town hall meetings, and and further communicated he would do whatever it took to budget more funding for law enforcement. Commissioner Sapp continually communicated her commendations of the Quincy Police Department involvement with the town hall and community meeting. She often stated that QPD has been more active, more visible, and responsive to the needs of the city more than ever before. Commissioner Bass-Prieto communicated our attention to higher visibility and attention to traffic enforcement throughout the city, especially through the King Street corridor. She has communicated regularly the QPD's involvement with community meetings and with Burma Heights residents, continually giving praise and recognition for the quick responses and the solving of many crimes through citizen involvement. Former Commissioner candidate recognized the QPD on several occasions for our involvement with community walks and food drives. Former interim city manager and Commissioner Nash has commended the Quincy Police Department for its professionalism and innovative strategies with technology, enhancing the vehicle fleet and our leadership. Commissioner Wood recognized the Quincy Police Department for their leadership, our leadership, and innovative strategies for addressing crimes around the city. She thanked us for the utilization of the NOLA camera project and our technological strategies during her visit at the Quincy Police Department and her ride-along. City Manager Robert Nixon has continually recognized my leadership with overall high accomplishments. Then, out of nowhere, while attending a meeting lately, he falsely insinuated that Assistant Chief Shamar and I had something to do with anonymous letters that were being circulated. We did not. How did he get to that? I don't know. I knew nothing about it. The thing about this, it perpetuated a negative attention towards my administration, resulting in attacks and retaliation. In fact, the first time I ever heard of an inappropriate relationship between Nixon and an employee was from Nixon himself during a meeting with the Quincy Police Department supervisors with HR Director Stacy Hannigan in attendance. On Monday, October 30th, 2023, at 3:30 p.m., I appeared at a meeting as requested with Nixon and Hannigan, and in the room, and an unknown female attorney in attendance via cell phone. Upon entering the room and taking my seat on October 30th, 2023, Nixon immediately advised that he was terminating me. I asked why was I being terminated, and he replied, since you were running for sheriff, I would give you an option to resign. I declined the option to resign because I did nothing wrong. The following day, October 31st, 2023, I was terminated and asked to turn in my police equipment by 5 p.m. It is clear that Nixon retaliated against me because he was called out on his wrongdoings in addition to other situations that currently in litigation against him. In closing, the citizens of Quincy, this is no more than retaliation against me and my administration. We must demand transparency and accountability for all city employees. Thank you for your time and your undivided attention concerning this serious matter. From day one, my mission has been to protect and serve the citizens of Quincy and uphold the law. Thank you for your time.
All right, moving along with the commission, with the consent agenda for the commission.
Mayor?
Yes.
I'd like to offer a motion that we approve the items for consent by the commission.
I'd like to pull the item.
Okay, which one?
The emergency meeting. Approval of emergency meeting of November 3rd, 2023. I have some questions and some concerns about the minutes.
Okay. What's the will of the commission?
I said,
Well, are you going to make your friendly?
Oh, yes,
Yes, okay.
With item pulled, yes.
Okay, so we'll amend that motion to pull item number 3. And will you get with the clerk in the interim and get those back to us with the corrections that you want? How do you want to handle that?
Well, it should come before for discussion.
Yeah,
Right.
Here.
I
Okay.
should state my
Okay, you
concerns
want your
here.
concerns now? Okay.
Well, can we approve the items for consent first?
Yeah, that's what we need to do before we go into.
All righty, a motion is before the commission. It's been properly approved and seconded to approve the consent agenda with the exclusion of number 3. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries 4-0. All right. Commissioner Dr. Nash, would you like to give us your concerns and we can...
Okay, regarding the minutes, I
Yes,
was
ma'am.
not clear in terms of when the contract was signed. We talked about the legality of signing a contract and then backdating it. I wasn't clear in terms of what that meant in terms of the minutes. There was no indication as to when that date. I see the contract was October 31st. I expressed that legally you don't backdate a contract. Also, the contract was not with the USDA. It was with a private company, private LLC. So I was a little confused with the minutes on that. McShane Capital LLC, that was the contract, not the USDA, which seems to be implied in the minutes.
Mayor,
Yes,
is Commissioner offering corrections to the minutes
I'm not
before
sure.
approval?
What corrections would you like to see, Commissioner Dr. Nash?
Well, I have someone needs to answer the question. When was the contract dated, given the meeting was on the 3rd of November? And the minutes say that the contract was October 31st? Somebody needs to explain to me the date.
Well, Commissioner, did you have something to say?
Well, no, go ahead.
No, what happened is that actually the contract was technically entered into back in 2022, and the city entered into a contract. So the contract was for the sale of the property, which is already done. What was entering into actually was closing documents. It was not actually the contract. The contract was signed months before the meeting.
Well, that wasn't clear to me when you all gave the explanation of the contract.
And that was that, I think that predated your arrival on the dais and the commission, but it was actually signed months ago, and it was actually just the closing documents to consummate the contract. And if we didn't sign the contract and dated October 30th, we're actually in breach of the contract and could have been sued.
But we didn't approve it until November 3rd, and
No.
nobody took the time to explain that to me. Maybe they explained it to Commissioner Dr. Wood in that manner, but nobody explained that to me.
No, but I'm just saying the contract was signed way before November 3rd.
And the wording, I think, is it has closing the contract. Maybe if the contract was already closed, we shouldn't use that language.
Yeah,
in the minutes.
the term of art should have been probably used differently, but it was actually, it was agreed upon sale from the city, and then the contract called for the sale of the property. We did all the proper procedures with all the lawyers from both sides, and this was the document just consummating the sale of the property. It was just closing the documents itself.
Okay, and it also implies that it was with the USDA, and it was a private company in this minutes.
What part of the minutes are you looking at on that?
Wherever the statement of USDA is in this document.
Under
Okay.
summary of discussion.
Right. Presentation to build a facility on behalf. Okay.
Oh, on behalf of USDA, in the summary, to locate from. It wasn't, it's the private company, it's the LLC.
Right. And they're building the facility for the USDA.
But our contract is with, it's not with USDA, it's with,
Correct.
it's with that LLC.
Correct.
Okay,
But
that's,
what's going there is the USDA building. How would you like that worded, the wording changed on that?
it could be a contract with, on behalf of.
Okay? On behalf of, where would you like that interjected?
Okay. Build a facility on behalf of, however, contract is with, to locate, some verbiage to indicate that we signed $35,000 over to a LLC.
Just a point of correction. They're paying the city $35,000.
Yeah, that we're
We're not-
paying, that we're paying this, but they're giving us $35,000 for
Exactly.
land that's
Right.
owned by the city.
Correct.
Yes.
I understand,
Okay, no, okay.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so you want it, where would you like the LLC interjected into the, or would you like a different sentence? How would you like
It could be a
that
different sentence, but there needs to be some clarity in terms of who we signed the contract with.
Well, now's the time, we need to offer the correction.
Right.
I mean, our job is to approve the minutes, so we need to be offering those corrections at this moment.
Made a presentation on behalf of, to build a facility on, or whatever. That second sentence.
You
Could
want-
be you can add after, made the presentation.
For presentation?
On,
Okay.
whatever the machine,
Next.
Capital LLC, to build a facility on behalf of.
Okay. I have no problems with that. Any other objections? And what else would you like to add?
Some clarity in terms of the contract date.
Okay, what would you like to add into this for, as far as clarity?
That it was, when was it?
It was in April of 2023.
Okay. Because that information wasn't given to me.
Yeah.
So the actual contract was signed in April of 2022?
23. But we
April
started
of
negotiating.
2023?
Yeah, and we started
Okay.
negotiating in September of 2022.
Okay.
So do we want that?
That could be another sentence,
Okay, where would you like that?
right after the contract was.
Where? Where are we looking at?
After the summary, the second paragraph under the summary.
Okay. All right.
And let's change the verbiage instead of closing the contract. I think, put what we actually did.
Closing documents.
You know, which was a document if the contract had already been signed and approved. So we don't want to have that confusion.
The actual date of signing the closing documents, okay? Is that all right with you?
Yeah, that's better. That's more
Okay.
clarity.
I mean, closing documents. All right. Okay, anything else?
That's it for that document.
All right. Anything from the commission to approve this? Do we want to go ahead and make a motion to approve the minutes as, with the changes?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to offer a motion to the minutes of the emergency meeting held on November 3rd, 2023, with the stated changes.
Second.
We have a motion before the commission to approve the minutes from the emergency meeting with the changes that we just discussed. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Okay. Moving right along, the next thing we have is comments from the audience. If you want to speak, we'll need a form filled out, and everyone is limited to 3 minutes. We have a timer here. We have someone on the phone. I'm going to allow them to go first so that they may hear what everyone else is saying after they have their time. But I'm going to ask that everybody follow decorum, that we, whether you agree or disagree, please keep your opinions and your comments to yourself. Let's show respect to everyone, and let's everyone address the commission and not individuals. And please show respect to your neighbors, respect to the commission, and respect to the citizens watching. All right, the first one will be Ms. Millie Forehand. Can you unmute your phone and give us your full name, your address for the record, please?
Yes. My name is Millie Forehand. My address is 620 South 11th Street in Quincy. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Good evening, honorable members of the commission, city manager, Attorney Roberts, Clerk Shackelford, Clemens. A wise man once said, a man who changes his principle based on to whom he is talking is not a man to lead a country. That was Nelson Mandela. I'm speaking to you tonight not just as another city resident, but the chair of the committee who recommended Mr. Nixon for his position, and as a disappointed, concerned citizen who believes that with a new manager and a fairly new police chief, we were on a clear path to improving the image of this city. I had high hopes that the best interests of the city, professionalism, fairness, and accountability were top of mind, and that the importance of building and growing a safe and secure community was a goal of all of the stakeholders. With that in mind, I lift my voice to express my concerns and objections regarding the recent decision to terminate a dedicated and respected police chief. This city has had more than its share of negative publicity over the years. The decision to terminate Chief Ashley using these manufactured reasons only added one more strike against us. It has left many of us bewildered, concerned, anxious, and caused confusion with a sense of instability within the community. I could give you 5 ways this could have been avoided if true and sincere leadership were the mission. This high level of testosterone is a situation that requires objectivity. In a situation that requires objectivity, reasonableness, and a rational response is not the most beneficial characteristics of a professional leader. It is of utmost importance for all of you to acknowledge in support of Chief that Chief Ashley has made significant contributions to this city in a short period of time. Your words, removing such an experienced, competent, and community-minded leader without a clear and compelling reason sends a distressing message to the citizens.
Ms. Forehand.
Don't ignore
Ms.
or
Forehand,
turn to this decision.
your time is up. Thank you for your comments.
Well, I have known people to at least speak more. Since I'm not there and I'm reading, I would like to have a few more minutes to finish.
Well, Ms. Forehand, the problem is we have a lot of people who want to speak tonight, and we have to hold everyone to 3 minutes. So if
You don't have to, but you will. Okay.
Yes, ma'am, I'm trying to treat everybody fairly.
I can see my time.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. All right, and then-
She didn't want to listen to the other comment.
I guess you can listen on Facebook. Okay. Sam Palmer? Hello?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am Chief Master Sergeant Sam Palmer, United States Air Force. I'm also the president of the Jefferson County NAACP. I was asked to come here by several people, and I'm not here to take sides. I have had a good relationship with this city manager. He's been responsive, and he adhered to things that I've asked him to do, and he's been done. I also had a good relationship with the chief. The chief has been shown that he cares for the people. Also, he cares for safety. So I'm not here to take sides at all. As the Chief Master Sergeant, we deal with management. Management tells me that if you got a problem, you got to have documentation. And it should be progressive documentation, you know. And you don't go and fire if you have not gone through that process, unless it's grave. Now, naturally, if it's grave, we find that you do what you need to do. But I would like to see documentation. If there's no documentation, it didn't happen. You know, that's what we were taught. It didn't happen. I understand that the chief does answer to the city manager. Right, we understand that, he had that responsibility, okay? But with the people in here, they're showing that they have concerns also. And even though that he's the city manager, he answers to the commissioners, you all answer to the citizens, directly or indirectly, So I do ask you to look at that, when you do something, okay? The one thing I would ask, if the citizens come up here and ask the manager to reinstate him, I would ask the manager to respond to the citizens in a positive way and do what they ask. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the next individual is Richard Murphy. Mr. Murphy?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Commissioner, City Manager. I'm Richard.
Can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Yes, it's Richard Murphy. I'm the president of Big Bend PBA that represents the Quincy Police Department's rank and file. My address is 300 East Brevard Street, Tallahassee, Florida. I actually agree with the gentleman. Facts do speak for themselves and need documentation. And so I would like to read from a climate survey that the Big Bend PBA conducted with the officers at the Quincy Police Department. Do you support Chief Ashley's administration? Out of 18 people that voted, 15 said no. I'm not questioning, I'm sorry.
No, they restarted it. I'm sorry.
I'm not questioning Chief Ashley's commitment to this city. I think he's a good man also. I just don't think he was the right chief. I saw a police department that was a model police department. It has problems, please don't get me wrong. But I never came to Quincy Police Department. All of a sudden, every time I turn around, I'm at Quincy Police Department for internal affairs investigation. There was an environment of chaos, instability, and at the end of the day, Chief Ashley was the chief, and he was responsible for that. If those were made by his subordinates, he was responsible for that. You want documentation? The facts speak for themselves, such as Chief Ashley did. This climate survey, the majority of officers would love to see it, would like to see a change at the Quincy Police Department. And I'll be honest with you, I believe the Quincy Police Department deserves change and better, and I believe the community deserves change and better also.
Thank you.
And that's all I have to say.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
All right, the next person we have, it looks like Jolene Williams. And let us restart our clock, because it can, okay, so, Ms. Williams, would you state your name and address for the record, please?
My name is Jolene Williams. I live at 165 Dove Court. These are not really my comments. These are comments of the Assistant Chief Shamar. Apparently, he was banned from the meeting tonight. Yeah.
He was given a message that was incorrect. He cannot be banned from the public meeting. And that was corrected, I believe, Mr. Attorney?
Yes, I communicated with that.
Well, was he notified?
Yes, he was notified.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to read a portion of this because I'm sure it's just too much. I have come to love the city of Quincy, and I would hope that the significant working with men and women of Quincy Police Department hasn't gone unnoticed. I know what 2019 and 2020, 2021 looked into revelations of violence in the city of Quincy. I sat and listened to some of the family members who have been victimized by the violence. To be honest, the buck of Quincy, Gaston County violent crime was right here in the city of Quincy. Chief Ashley's signature focus was to build trust in the community, establish a legacy within the law enforcement community to the levy technology which would allow us to reduce crime. Those very things have been established. Crime was reduced 26% in the first year, so seriously weighs on me to appear before you to discuss these matters of concerns with the city of Quincy. The good, hard-working men and women of the Quincy Police Department are under attack. We have learned from a prominent citizen, the city manager, Robert Nixon, has stated Chief Ashley problems would go away if he would just fire Shamar. For that reason, as I read this letter, I think you will begin to connect the dots. As retaliates to the Chief Ashley on October 17, 2023, Chief Timothy Ashley and I witnessed the city manager, Robert Nixon, place in an unmarked Quincy vehicle in hands of another unknown criminal. This jeopardizes the safety of our citizens and law enforcement and violates Florida law. The city manager, Robert Nixon, has a pattern of what he did to the chief. He gets caught doing wrong, then goes on a smear campaign.
Your time's up. Thank you very much for coming this evening.
I have copies of this.
Michael Clary. Mr. Michael Clary.
My name is Michael Clary. I live at 1004 Brumby Street, Quincy, Florida. Mayor Bass,
Welcome.
commissioners, other members of the dais. A city is only as good as its leadership. And it is my hope and my prayer that you all can achieve that. Since returning to Quincy, all I've witnessed at City Hall is turmoil and despair. From budgetary issues, code enforcement, disgruntled employees, lack of public safety, trying to rescind the mayor, utilities in arrears, and now firing the chief of police. It has been my observation based on research, talking with citizens, sound judgment, and past legislative experience that most of these issues are the result of the past administration, particularly at the city manager position. Now, the city of Quincy has an honorable city manager that has a grave task of trying to straighten out years of mismanagement. Mr. Nixon hasn't been here, what, a year or less? And a lot of this stuff happened way before he got here. And what do? Fight him tooth and nail to try and discredit and stifle his efforts to make the city of Quincy solvent as it once was. Actually, 40 years ago when I was in office. I appeal to your civic duty to support our city manager in his tireless efforts to restore our city to some sense of normalcy. I met with Mr. Nixon, and he has a vision for Quincy that's just magnificent. I would thank you, and so will many other citizens. As for WCTV, it seems as if the only time they come here to broadcast in Quincy is biased, divisive, and culturally degrading. I don't know if they're trying to increase their ratings or whatever, but where are they when something positive and uplifting occurs in Quincy? They are nowhere to be found. It's really a shame that this reporter and this news station uses our fair city to boost their ratings. Respectfully submitted, Michael Clary, former Mayor Commissioner Quincy, Committeeman for the Democratic Executive Committee, and Governor's appointee for the Appalachia Regional Planning Council. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next individual will be Mr. Ken Spears.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ken Spears. I live in Tallahassee at 5000 Tallopoint Road. And just want to tell all of you that I have known Timothy Ashley for more than 35 years. Tim and I have worked together most of those 35 years in a law enforcement capacity. I've seen Tim work in law enforcement. I've observed him. But Tim and I also share a lot of common personal interests, and we've spent a lot of time together in personal capacities, and I've had an opportunity to watch Tim over those 35 years in his personal capacity. And I can tell you that Tim is a person with very high integrity. His moral compass is straight. He keeps his conduct beyond reproach. In my professional and personal life with Tim, I've observed Tim manage things, cars, budgets, capital projects. But I've also observed Tim manage people. And what Tim is, more than anything else that you guys have to know about Tim in his DNA, is that Tim is an inspirational leader. Tim extracts performance and achievement from people that they did not know they had. Tim inspires people to do better. And Tim has a huge heart. Tim's caring. Tim spends a lot of his own time helping other people that you guys may not know about. But Tim is a very good friend of mine. My family is a good friend of Tim's. And I was so excited when the city appointed Tim as the chief of police, because I knew what dedication and integrity Tim would bring to this city. And hearing the recent news, I was a little dismayed. But I hope that after tonight, you guys can reconsider and reappoint Tim back to his place as chief of police. Thank you.
Thank you. The next person on our list is Lydia Ashley. Ms. Ashley?
Hello, my name is Lydia Ashley, and I am the wife of Chief Timothy Ashley. I am before you today to read a letter that for Shamar.
You give us your address, please, for the record.
Address is 180 Jack Drive, Quincy, Florida. And I'm standing before you today to read a letter on behalf of Assistant Chief Shamar. I think I heard City Manager Nixon tell Jolene that Shamar was allowed to come to the meeting. He would not be denied to come to this meeting. Well, Shamar received a letter at the instructions of City Manager Nixon from the acting chief of police, Carlos Hill, who has been the acting chief of police for maybe a couple days, if that. Just today? Okay, with Carlos Hill, just today, wrote Assistant Chief Shamar this letter. There has been a concern brought forth regarding your mental health. The seriousness of these concerns poses a significant safety risk to the general public and this law enforcement body. As a result of these concerns, our agency, in collaboration with the Human Resource Risk Management, the City Manager's Office, and the governing body of the City of Quincy, has decided to prohibit you from attending today's regular scheduled commission meeting at City Hall. Should you arrive at this facility, law enforcement will escort you from the premises. Upon your return from administrative leave, scheduled to end on Wednesday, which is tomorrow, November 15, 2023, we will evaluate your mental capacities and deem you suitable to serve as a law enforcement officer moving forward. Should you have any questions or concern, please reach out to me. Thanks, Carlos Hill, Acting Chief of Police for the Quincy Police Department. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening to this letter that Assistant Chief Shamar received, I think around 3:45, 4 o'clock, just prior to this meeting. Y'all have a good evening.
Thank you. The next person on our list is Faye Lewis. Faye Lewis. Faye Lewis. Well, oh, here she is. Thank you.
Yes, here I am.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you give us your name and address for the record, please, ma'am?
Yes. My name is Faye Lewis, and I reside at 902 South Pat Thomas Parkway, Quincy, Florida. Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
Thank you all for allowing me to address the Commission on an issue that is of utmost importance to me and my family. This issue is the unjust dismissal of our esteemed City of Quincy Police Chief Timothy Ashley, whom my family and I have known for nearly 25 years. It is a privilege to stand before you today to advocate for the reinstatement of a dedicated public servant who has been wrongfully removed from his position. Chief Ashley has dedicated to the City of Quincy 2 years of his life for the protection and betterment of the City of Quincy. He has worked tirelessly to build trust, foster positive relationships, and ensure the safety of the residents of Quincy. Chief Ashley's commitment to upholding the law, preserving order, respecting the rights of the citizens of Quincy has been nothing short of exemplary. It is essential to acknowledge the significant progress and improvement made under Chief Ashley's leadership. Crime rates have decreased by 26%. The police force has become more transparent, accountable to the public than at any other time that I can remember. These achievements are a testament to Chief Ashley's unwavering dedication to the City of Quincy. The unjust dismissal of Police Chief Ashley not only undermines his service, but also jeopardizes the safety and well-being of our city. It sends a troubling message about the value we place on experienced and committed leaders who have consistently demonstrated their commitment to the City of Quincy. In closing, we must remember that justice is not just a concept, but a fundamental pillar of our society. It is incumbent upon us to ensure that this injustice is corrected. Reinstating police chief is not only just a matter of restoring him to his rightful position, but it is about upholding the principles, fairness, justice, and accountability that we as the citizens of Quincy expect. In order for the City of Quincy to continue to benefit from the steadfast leadership of Chief Ashley, reinstating him is not just the right thing to do, it is the only thing to do. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. The next one is Herb Sheehan.
Thank you, Commissioners, Mr. Manager,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Attorney. My name is Herb Sheehan, 1455 Cane Creek Road here in Quincy. I'd like to introduce my wife, my life's partner, Karen. She's my partner. I have been serving with Timothy Ashley for 20-plus years. He is a man of integrity and character. I could go on. I have worked with him in law enforcement and the Florida Highway Patrol, the Gaston County Sheriff's Office. After being appointed Chief of Police 2 years ago, he called me and said, would you come out of retirement and help me with Quincy as we embark on this as a reserve officer and volunteer? I talked to my wife, and we both said, I wouldn't do this but for anybody but him, Timothy Ashley. His integrity and character is exemplary, and I said I will do that. It's been an honor and a high privilege to serve with him for these 2 years. Every day I have served with him in the Quincy Police Department. He has never asked me to do anything that would be an embarrassment to the citizens of Quincy, Florida. Every day for the last 2 years. Let me tell you a story, because I think I've heard some concerns that he probably wasn't managing the budget well. Let me tell you a firsthand experience of him managing the budget. Our house back in July caught fire and burned, as most of you know. In that were all my uniforms and equipment. I went to Gall's Uniform Supply and said, I need a shirt so I can serve the citizens of Quincy. All my things were burned up in the fire. The manager of Gall's in Tallahassee said, Assistant Chief, I can't do that because the chief said no more money can be spent. He was managing the budget tightly. He said, hang on a minute. He called this man on his cell phone and said, I've got Assistant Chief here. He needs a shirt to serve. They were all burned up in the fire. He said, yes. He was managing the budget. Nothing could be spent without his approval. He was that tight on budgetary control. So I would ask you to reconsider. He is a man of character and integrity. I would do anything for Tim Ashley. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next on our list is Jack McLean Jr.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mayor, commissioners, the city attorney, Mr. Manager. I'm going to start the work and try to stay within the 3 minutes. Much has been said that I would have said.
Can you give us your full name and your
I will
address,
give my
please?
full name, yes, I will. Jackie L. McLean Jr., okay, and I live at 7119 Summit Ridge in Tallahassee, Florida. And I drove over here through the rain because I wanted to make sure that I made it here. As many of you know, I have not been to very many of you meetings, very few, in fact, and this is the first time I want to speak. I think that Chief Ashley is a good man, and he's done a good job, and you've heard a lot of that. I'm not here to criticize anybody. No, I'm not here to just really criticize the manager, but I am here to speak to the decision that I think you have to make, and that you have a legal authority to make. I've had an opportunity to go and look at the statute, 166.0494. That's a new law, and it changes things. And it really says that even if the manager decision is a great one, right now the ball is now in your court to evaluate on what you hear. This is a due process hearing. If you look at the history, and I brought some information, I want to give you the legislative history. So, Mr. Manager, I'll ask you to pass that out. Thank you. And the legislative history is that with this change, they wanted to create a due process hearing. And you'll see the sections that I have, and I've highlighted them in red. It was meant to change things. Police chiefs before did not have this right, and they wanted to give something akin to Chapter 112 rights. And I won't just go through and read it, but I'm just going to do it in summation for you. You have the right to do it. This is not a home rule issue. It is not a day-to-day issue. That statute has changed that. And if you read that language, you will see it. Now, the other thing I'm going to pass out is just your chart and your language, and that's section 3.04. And in 3.04, it says that the manager can hire and fire all personnel. But even in that section, which I underscore for you, you will see the line that says, except as otherwise provided by law. So this is your decision. I've gone around to see if anybody else has used this law and looked at other cities, and it's not in place yet. It's new. But when I read this statute, it has done something new. It has done something that was not done in the last 50, 70 years in this state. It meant to give you the authority to say, and listen to these good people in this audience, that we believe that something different should happen. So I'm going to stop now and say that you have the ability to do it, you have the legal right to do it, and this is a good man, and I was proud to have been a part of it.
Thank you. Next, we have Paula Phillips. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Paula Phillips at 816 Sunset Drive, Quincy. We've had a lot of letters going back and forth, anonymous letters, making accusations and disgusting flyers distributed around town, retaliation against our city manager. We don't know anything yet. I'm very disappointed the way the city has behaved around this. Instead of waiting to see how the investigations turned out, there have been nasty and mean-spirited behavior. I like Rob Nixon and Chief Ashley, but I don't think this is a way for a city of people to react. Smear campaigns and anonymous flyers get you nowhere. I had hoped the people of Quincy would have acted in a more adult manner and waited for the information to come around before they picked a team to support. Shouldn't we all be supporting our city of Quincy instead of siding with individuals?
Thank you. Next on our list is Ms. Woods of I'm sorry, I can't read this. Zamari Woods. I may be mispronouncing your name. Is it Webb? It looks like Woods.
Zachary.
Zachary Woods. I'm sorry. Zachary Woods. Please forgive me for calling you Zamari. That's that nurse, doctor handwriting, right?
Yeah, sorry.
Yes, could you please state your name and address for the record, please?
I am Zachary Woods, 121 East Jefferson Street, Quincy, Florida. So I am here in support of the current officers, the current men and women that are working at the police department. You all have received a survey. The survey is not lying. The survey went to the officers' individual emails, asking for their opinions under the administration of Chief Ashley. I had the opportunity to serve as a public information officer, at which time I was privy to a lot of information, to include bills that were coming into the agency. I assumed the role of captain, but I would soon be requested to be demoted once he learned that I was not supporting his being the sheriff. I received invoices of men and women who had small businesses walking into the police department requesting that their invoices be paid. This is the type of agency we need around. I would highly suggest each of you be searchers of the truth, as there is evidence to support what the city manager has decided to do. Myself, I came back to the city of Quincy as a reserve officer, not working in full-time capacity. I'm a university professor, a registered nurse, and I just completed my nurse practitionership. So this is home to me, so it is what I enjoy doing. So I have no political ties, but I care about the men and women who are working tirelessly for little of nothing and having to put up with the humility, the constant IAs, the reprimands, and the bad treatment that I witnessed once I came back to the city. And that's why I stayed in this city in support of those men and women who continue to put their lives on the line and continue to have to struggle with so much coming to work every day, not knowing that if they will be subject to an IA, subject to being reprimanded. Officers are scared. You have officers who are here now. 10 of them stated that they will walk down here with me. As you can see, I only have 3. Retaliation is real. I am a victim of it. But what we have to be is searchers of the truth. There is evidence to support what has happened. But we have to look out for our people. You have to look out for your essential workers here in the city of Quincy. They can be anywhere else. I could be anywhere else, but I'm still here with these men and women on the front lines fighting to serve and protect the citizens of the city of Quincy. So I really don't know what a lot of you have heard, have seen, or have
been told, but the truth is in the pudding, baby. The truth is in the pudding. Come on, I mean, 26% reduction in crime rate. How do you have a 26% reduction in crime rate when the stats in the report? It occurred within 19 months. What are you comparing to? You compare from year to year. I would love the opportunity to express it more with you all. I have a list of things that I can clearly discuss each of these. Okay? I'll be here. Thank you all. Thank you, Commissioner.
Next on our list is Samuel McCray. Samuel McCray, can you please come forward? Welcome. Can you please take your...
Investigator Samuel McCray. I work for the Quincy Police Department, 121 East Jefferson Street. So you all are aware, we only have climate surveys when something happens. Our PBA rep is a disgruntled employee. So I don't know how it's even fair for him to come speak for us. Like, it doesn't make any sense. You're disgruntled, so yeah, you're gonna flip everything to what you're feeling. Everybody doesn't feel like that. Yeah, do we have IAs? That's part of being in policing. We have citizens complain on us all the time. It has to be investigated. Once it's investigated, you either cleared or you're not. You're not going to get around having IAs. So don't let that fool you at all. At all. A lot of us have done wrong that are officers. We get what we get. Either we get fired or we get reprimanded or we don't. It just depends on what happens in your IA. So don't let that fool you. He don't speak for everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
Excuse me, let's decorum. Next on our list is Rolanda Jackson. Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Rolanda Jackson, 2480 Bainbridge Highway, lifetime resident of Gaston County, business owner, property owner, so on and so forth. Unlike a lot of you all, thank everybody for coming. I come to the city meetings anyhow. So I have some concerns. One thing I will say about the chief is what I haven't heard from a lot of folks is he knows Jesus, okay? I say, Chief, you know me. Y'all know me. I get a little, I cuss a little bit. Chief said, Ms. Jackson, let the Lord work it out, okay? Let the Lord work it out. I said, Chief, some things you got to work out, but you're right. The Lord will work this out. So we can go on for days and days and days about who, and it's about who like who versus who, this, that, and the other. What I will say is that listening at, thank you for your service, and all the things that Chief Ashley has done, what I know about Chief Ashley is Chief Ashley ain't getting in no trouble for nobody. You can believe that, okay? Chief Ashley gonna say, because I call him from time to time, Miss Jackson, it'll work itself out. So it will work itself out however it's supposed to be, but we have a charge to you all, commissioners. Y'all have a charge to us, and thank you. You all work and serve for the people. I am concerned. We've had a lot going. It's a lot of mess going on up here. And for those of you who don't know, we have some FDLE investigations going on right here at the city of Quincy, okay? It's a whole lot of mess going on up here. A whole lot of backbiting, this, that, and the other. And it's a whole lot of people who would speak, but because of retaliation. I was just telling someone today, it doesn't matter who you with, who you for. Respect and decency is due to anybody. Right there is my cousin, and we disagree and argue all the time. But I still love him, and he's going to make some decisions that we ain't in agreement now for some things. But the truth of the matter is that when we have some good people, it is real hard to find a black man that's doing his job. Now, when you do your job and when you require some things, a lot of times folks don't like you. Okay, we don't like strict bosses or bosses by the, I'm serious. I retired, I don't work for nobody but me and Jesus, okay? I don't work for nobody but me and Jesus. But I'm gonna ask you on a couple of things. I'm gonna ask the commissioners to look at. See, I come to the meetings all the time. If you look at your agendas for the last 6-8 months, what the hell is we doing up here? Nothing, because ain't nothing on here but road closures and proclamations. So I'm gonna ask y'all to ask to hold the city manager responsible. Now we got to pay more money for attorneys to come, I'm getting through, for special meetings, because we don't even have nothing on the agendas. Don't take my word. You don't have to like me. But it is what it is.
Your
and
time's
we're not
up.
doing anything.
Ms. Jackson, your time's up.
I already know that. I see the clock.
Scott Littlefield.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
City Manager. So, I just...
Can you give us your name and address for the record,
Field,
please?
121 East Jefferson.
Thank you.
Quincy Police Department. I left Leon County in December after some time to come here, all right? And there's only one reason I came here, and that was Chief Ashley. I walked in his office, Bible on his desk, does a daily devotional, and it's a man of integrity, and that's the person I wanted to work for. I truly believed in the vision he had. I've made it my mission to get to know Quincy. I live in Tallahassee, but I've made a mission to get to know the citizens and, work with officers to try to do this 21st century policing. I'm kind of disheartened about the PBA coming in here saying, I'm a member of the PBA. I appreciate the PBA. I think it serves a purpose. I'm definitely not in that camp. And I think that's a misrepresentation. Though it's a survey, I'd encourage you, I'm the last to know everything at the department because I don't get on the phone and conspire and talk and gossip. And we have an issue, all right, and that I think it's a problem. It's messy. It's messy. It's kind of embarrassing. I think it's a combination of stuff that doesn't need to, we're professionals. And we talked in the meeting about holding people accountable. I try to hold people accountable. It doesn't seem I can hold anybody accountable because when I do, if nothing's done, they come over here, you get involved, and it's right back on the street. People don't get to do what they want to do, how they want to do it all the time, right? We have and ultimately, who suffers? The citizens. The citizens are suffering. All right. Some of the officers, they're great people, and I love them, and I support them. But we have a gossip problem that goes and it comes here. I don't know how, but it does. I just found out today I had a new boss. After I called my old boss and said, hey boss, we have a pothole on Adams Street. Citizens said you hit it with their car. I want to let you know so you can let the city manager, I'm not your boss anymore. Okay? Officers know before I know. So how does that happen? I have no idea. But, I think it's just, it's something that I think has to be addressed. But as far as Timothy Ashley, there's nothing more important to him than the people in this city. I promise you. And I just wanted to just say that, and I appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next on our list is Harold Barber.
Hello, Commissioners, City Manager, audience. My name is Harold Barber, 121 East Jefferson Street, the Quincy Police Department. I really didn't come to speak tonight. However, I was called out as a disgruntled employee. I am the Quincy Police Department union rep. I've been with the city of Quincy for a little over 21 years. I've been through multiple chiefs. I've been through multiple administrations with the city. I'm not a disgruntled employee. Yes, I've been the target of this administration more than one time, but I'm not disgruntled. The climate survey came about because two employees asked for a vote of no confidence. The climate survey is the beginning of a voting on confidence. Multiple officers supported the climate survey. It's completely voluntary. It was sent out by the Big Bend PPA office, and it went back to the Big Bend PPA office. I had no hand in calculating it. So, you know, the responses in the climate survey are the responses from the officers themselves. Right? One way or another, I wanted everybody to participate, whether they were in support of the chief or whether they're not in support of the chief. Okay? Some that was in support of the chief participated, some did. But like I say, I have no dog in the fight. My job is to make sure that these men and women are protected by the union and to stand up for them against the administration when something may be out of whack. And that's what I do. Like I say, I've been a target of multiple IAs, which is fine by me, because that's part of me being a PVA rep. I understand that. You know, but my job, like I say, is to make sure these men and women that stand behind me and that's in this blue uniform are well taken care of as a union rep. And I can say early on in this administration, I kind of figured I was going to be a target. It's fine with me. Like I tell these men and women, if you don't want to take the hits, give it to me and I'll take the hit for you. And I've taken plenty of hits for plenty of these men and women behind, because that's what I do as a union rep. Like I said, early on in this administration, a meeting was called at the Big Bend PBA office. I had no knowledge of it. It was a meeting between the chief, the assistant chief, and Chief Sheehan. I had no idea that they had a meeting. And it was to discuss my role as a union rep. The only way I found out about the meeting was the Big Bend PBA called me and said, they scheduled a meeting, you need to be here. You know, I supported Chief when he first came on. I was actually in the final briefing, in the final interviews with the city manager. And I gave him high marks in his interview. I supported him 100% when he came. But all that changed when he got there, and I became the subject and the target of his administration. You know, I wish nothing but the best he was run for sheriff. But thank you.
Last on our list is Mr. D. Elias, Derek Elias, former commissioner and mayor.
Good evening. Derek D. Elias, 233 Cheeseboro Avenue.
Good evening.
This is a mess. And I think you all already know that, but it's worth reiterating. This is a mess. And there is a great divide. I have read the letter from the city manager to the police chief. I have heard the eloquent response from the police chief. There is a great divide from what's in the letter and what was rebutted by the police chief. There is a great divide. I've heard these officers come before you all tonight and before all of us, and there is another great divide within the police department itself. The police department divided cannot stand. This did not start, obviously, from the letter from Mr. Nixon to the chief. There was already some issues going on. Somebody somewhere is going to have to address those issues. There is a great divide in this mess. I heard Mr. McLean iterate that the new chapter, Florida Statute 166, is now in effect, and it's been very little used. You all will have to make a decision because, as he said, it's as otherwise prescribed by law. I think somebody's going to have to challenge that to see if you all, in fact, can have a say-so in this matter, or will you have to abide by your charter? Now, my many years as a previous commissioner and mayor, I've seen a lot of the hirings and firings going on in the city. I guess there's always a mess, but I don't think it's been this bad in a while. It was getting better. I think this was a setback for the city of Quincy, but at the end of the day, the citizens of the city of Quincy will suffer if this is not addressed properly. If those things outlined in the letter requiring the dismissal of Chief Ashley are true, they should be substantiated thoroughly. They would have to be. That's the purpose of Chapter 166 now, for him to have a due process and basically clear his name. There are allegations. If they are true, they are true. They should be able to be substantiated. So at the end of the day, I think you all are going to have to light a fire under somebody and bring forth the facts for which this action took place. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes our public comment section, and, I'm sorry, public hearing section, and we'll move on to resolutions unless there's some more comments from the commission or the attorney.
I'll make my comments
I'll
during the
reserve my
committee.
comments.
I'll reserve them.
All right, moving on to resolution 1451 dash, I'm sorry.
He's coming for the resolution, I believe.
Oh, okay, okay, I thought he was speaking, okay.
No, the resolution.
No, okay.
Okay? Okay.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Resolution 1451-2023. Acting Chief Hill.
Commissioner, City Manager, we are requesting that a road closure be approved for the family of Lieutenant Commander William Corey, who received the Medal of Honor while serving in our military on November the 16th, 2023, from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. We're requesting that a road closure be set up at Camilla Drive and East King Street and Julian Monroe Woodward bypass, which is the Quincy bypass, for the dedication ceremony of that segment on the highway.
All right, Commission, what's your pleasure?
Mayor, I'd like to offer a motion that we approve resolution number 1451-2023.
Second.
All right, we have a motion before us to approve Resolution 1451-2023. It's been properly moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries 4 to...
Question.
I had a question.
Okay.
Highway 12, do we need, it's a state road. What is it?
It stops being a state road at the bypass.
At the bypass, okay.
Right, we're shutting it off at the bypass. So where it becomes a city road is where we're going to block it off.
Okay, that's clarity I needed.
All righty. Again, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any more questions or comments? Okay. Moving right along, we have a change order for improvements to Flagler and Virginia Street storm drain system. Miss Millie. Okay. All right, Manager Nixon.
Yes, at this time I invite Reggie Bell, and I believe he's bringing a representative from Dewberry forward. He's coming down there.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor.
Good evening.
Today, staff brings you guys a change order for improvements to the Flagler and Virginia Street storm drain system. This is again, I request the commissioner approval to change order to start phase 2 of the improvement for the Flagler and Virginia Street storm drain system. The contractor who made additional repairs to Michael and Jefferson St. Holy Pond system did an excellent job in completing the improvement in a timely manner. After observing the service that Pyramid provided for the city of Quincy, we are requesting that the board accept a change order for phase 2 improvement to the Flagler and Virginia Street drainage system to be completed by Pyramid. Dewberry engineer here today with their opinion probable construction cost for phase 2 of $257,915. After providing the phase 2 drawing to Pyramid, they provided staff with an estimate of $152,075. So that's why we're here today to ask the board to do a change order in this matter.
Commissioner Harris, I
Yes.
saw your
Thank you.
hand up.
Mr. Bell, now the fund that this will come from, is this from the original 1.7 or is this going into the new American Rescue Act dollars?
Original.
It's from the original?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Okay, any other questions or comments?
So explain,
Dr. Nash?
yes, explain the, Dewberry's not doing it, it's gonna be,
Dewberry is our engineer.
okay, all right, they're recommending this
Yes.
company? Okay,
No, they're not recommending the company. They gave their opinion on
oh, okay,
what it would cost.
okay.
Mr. Commissioner, I can add that Pyramid is the company that completed the work on the retention pond on GFNA. They did an excellent job, and utilizing them will save us money and help us with mobilizing quicker.
Okay. All right, what is the will of the commission?
Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to offer a motion that we approve change order recommended for Pyramid Excavation Incorporated in the amount of $152,075 to complete Phase 2 improvements to Flagler and Virginia Street storm drainage system.
Second.
There's a motion before the commission to approve the change order for improvements to Flagler and Virginia Street storm drainage system in the amount of, I'm sorry, I lost my place here. Can you give me that total again? You have that total?
$152,075.
$152,075. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 4-0. All righty. Moving right along, we're going to comments from our city manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I want to keep my comments.
Just 1 second.
Yes.
If everybody could come inside and close the door, it stops a lot of noise coming into the chamber. We have some more seats up front and some on the side. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I'll begin with commendations to the staff for really moving forward with all of our major projects. We continue to receive a lot of improvement in the utilities department in their responses, also through customer service. I want to commend the staff for that. We continue to be very active with new projects, particularly housing projects, single-family and multifamily in the community. We're looking forward to getting some very good news soon on the start on some of those projects. Some will come before this commission so that you may provide questions on behalf of your constituents, but also to make sure that we move forward together with leadership supporting these projects, which will enhance the opportunities for housing, and particular economic development, job creation, capital investment in our community, while meeting a significant need for access to quality housing for our citizens. Also, I would like to thank everyone for their support of the Veterans Day event that we had here. We got a chance to celebrate with veterans who are employees of the city of Quincy, as well as those in the community. I want to thank them for their service. Want to thank all of the vendors who donated donuts and coffee, and thank the clerk for really arranging that project and moving it forward. And it was done with great respect for all who were there. I want to speak about the big issue to some degree. And first of all, I'd like to say, for the record, I do believe that Timothy Ashley is a good man. I believe that Timothy Ashley strives to be the best person that he can be. I believe that he has some significant experiences that benefit the city of Quincy. I believe that he has some leadership skills, particularly as what was called an inspirational leader. I believe that Timothy Ashley has a vision for how the police department should run for the city of Quincy. I believe that Timothy Ashley, as described by his friends and family and loved ones and colleagues and even myself, that we cannot question his character. We cannot question his intent. but I was given the opportunity to serve this city as a city manager, which means that I have to make some very difficult decisions. And I must say, in my 30 years in economic development and public service, this was the hardest decision that I've ever had to make. It was with great difficulty, a lot of consternation, a lot of prayer, a lot of counsel with the attorney and with the HR director, listening to Chief Ashley over the past year and a half, listening to his staff over that same period of time. And there are some definite problems. It is a mess. It is a mess. It was difficult when he came on board because of some of the constraints, and it was difficult throughout his tenure. But I don't want to get us confused. It is my job to make the hard decisions in the best interest of this city and these citizens. We cannot compromise on public safety, whether it be fire or police. The justifications that I provided to Chief Ashley should not have been a surprise. I'm surprised that he's surprised, because he talked about how frequently he met with the finance department so that he and his staff could get training and get orientations to the budget. But the reality is I also directed them to do that. I directed all of our leadership to do that because we had problems with our leadership understanding budgets and the budgeting process. Over the course of this period of time of Chief Ashley's tenure, he struggled with having the ability to have himself or his staff manage those resources. Every month, then there was some line that was in the negative, and that happens from time to time. But it became a theme for the police department. Part of that is the managerial decisions that were made. What's not stated are things like we had vendors who not only did not get payment, but the city of Quincy Police Department was penalized. For example, we rely on Comcast for internet and phone services for QPD. That was disconnected for a period of time for non-payment. That's not the finance department's responsibility. The finance department does not receive those invoices or make those orders. They only respond once they receive the information. The information was never transmitted from QPD to the finance department. The consequence, for a period of time, our officers couldn't communicate effectively, our citizens couldn't access us effectively, we had no access to internet to support it, so it was a mess. And we dealt with that at City Hall. We fixed it. Something else that happened. Biopsycho waste management provides resources so that as our police officers in their due diligence, they come across biohazardous materials. They have to have a repository for those things. Well, they repossessed their biohazard bin, and they repossessed it for non-payment. Enterprise fleet, $30,000 behind on enterprise fleet. We start looking at these significant events that happen. And right now, nobody at QPD leadership reported to me that even as of this moment, through Verizon, the GIS system that is used for fleet management is suspended for non-payment. This is something that Chief Ashley instituted and that he had a great expectation for. There was a benefit to him and his leadership team, and that was disconnected, not because it was mismanaged as a tool, but for non-payment. When we start talking about managing our people, one of the things that you saw tonight, that we have some officers who support Chief Ashley, you have some officers who don't support Chief Ashley, and I believe that is only in terms of his management ability. I believe they would all agree that he is a good man, he is a nice guy, he is personable. But clearly, the fact that you have two different camps within QPD is evidence that there is some discord, there is some disagreement, and that disagreement can be traced directly back to the leadership. We know that there is a hostile environment because before we received some anonymous letters, and let me put a caveat there, I want to make sure that it's clear to this commission and to our citizens that I am the individual that collected all of the anonymous letters, that collected all of the information, and I transmitted that to FDLE myself. I did that, and I have the justifications for it, and I have the proof that it was transmitted to FDLE. That was my decision to do because I knew we needed to jump right on it and get someone else to investigate. Another thing I'd like to add, just for your consideration, because I don't want to beat up on Chief Ashley's legacy because he's worked hard for it. And I think that he did a lot of good things for this city. And I applauded those good things, and I recognize his employees as they made those positive contributions. And there was some improvement, but let me be clear. The improvement that is needed for the city of Quincy, we have not reached. When we start talking about 26% decrease in crime, you cannot find a statistical variable that will support 26% decrease. Why? Because we don't have the in-house capabilities anymore to make those determinations. We have the software, and you cannot, the reports that you see every month, those come from QPD. And for more than a year and a half, this commission has received those reports from my office in your Dropbox, and there are words that are always on those reports in multiple categories, the vast majority of those categories, and it's nothing significant. How can a police department led by a capable chief come before this commission based on your requests and not present any positive work, any notable work? There are concerns there with leadership. Does that mean that everything Chief Ashley has done is bad? I say not. He has done some great things. But what this city expects, what you have directed me to do, and what I'm required to do, means that I had to make a decision that is not popular. And I'm not used to not being the popular guy. I'm not used to the criticism. But I got to live up to it because this is my decision. This is something that I did not make because I wanted to. It's because I had to make that decision. We have no option. We cannot continue to do business as usual. This is the same police department, the same leader who participated in the gossip with his employees that was negative towards his other employees. They have general orders. One of those general orders is that they will treat each other with respect. In a meeting at QPD, the HR director witnessed the command staff talking and referring to the employees that disagree with them as terrorists, agency terrorists. In a meeting with the HR director, myself, and the city manager, we inquired about that, and the chief said, I meant that in the strongest sense of the word. At that point, a red flag came up. How can you objectively manage a group of people that you don't like, that you have disdain for, and you consider them terrorists in your organization? It is very problematic for any manager to put their personal feelings into a managerial situation and have a positive outcome, because it is a mess. And we cannot look at a select handful of positives and ignore the glaring negatives. When we start talking about this commission's expectation and the community's demand that we have patrol officers in ample number to make sure that they are in the community and fighting crime, Chief Ashley will tell you that I said, Chief Ashley, the standard should be that we have one officer per district. I said, come up with a managerial plan so that we can meet that. I gave that directive to his assistant chief to work with HR so that they could come up with a method to schedule the available resources so that we can meet that expectation. Not once did I get a reply. Not once did I even get a possible solution to that problem. As a matter of fact, what we noted happening over time is that in order to cover costs at the end of the year, those same vacant positions, those patrol positions, other positions, non-law enforcement positions that weren't filled, were used to offset problems in other budget areas. This is something that I noted to you during the budget workshop. If you remember, this commission will remember that every department head came before you months in advance of the deadline and presented to you their budget, because I believe that directors must understand their budget and must be able to justify it, and I wanted them to have the opportunity to speak to you and not through me. At that time, Chief Ashley was very clear about his budget expectations. So he wants to talk about the cars that he got for free. Yes, we did get cars for free, but guess what we didn't consider? That these are older vehicles, and when you use them more, the maintenance costs go up. The fuel costs go up. Those things weren't budgeted. Those things have to be adjusted to. We overwhelmed our in-house mechanic, so much so that we could not use him to fix all those cars. Many cases, we had to use shops and vendors. Was there a process to identify the best practice, the best price, to get the best quality? No, in many cases, cars were sent to Georgia to be repaired. We got cars at the landfill now that are sitting because they cannot be repaired. Yeah, we got free stuff, but guess what? When you get free stuff, you get what you pay for, and that is a problem. We've had concerns about overtime because there were two things going on in the police department, and they predate Timothy Ashley, but it's something that he had to deal with. We have officers and first responders who put their lives on the line. We had a situation with overtime where one individual was allowed in one pay period to get 68 hours overtime. 68 hours. That means that individual who lives in Tallahassee probably slept 3 hours before coming back to work. But also, that person was allowed to drive a police car back and forth to Tallahassee as a dispatcher, but the cost of that fuel back and forth every day wasn't considered. Because you think about it, that translates into approximately $12,000 that employee doesn't put on their personal vehicle, and no other dispatcher was allowed that same opportunity. These are the things that created conflict within dispatch. You had 8 dispatchers when Chief Ashley assumed the mantle. We were forced, as you remember, a citizen coming before talking about her child's experience with the police stopping the vehicle, and the quote was made to this commission is that if you had a trained dispatcher, then this could have been resolved in 30 seconds. We talked about consolidated dispatch. Meanwhile, we've got to bring in senior staff to man dispatch, because on that particular day, there was a senior staffer who was manning dispatch and handled that call. So if it was inappropriate, it was because the leadership couldn't handle it. These are the things that we're wrestling with. There's self-paced training for the dispatchers. I asked several times, how long does this take? If it's self-paced, we got to get certified dispatchers. Can I get an answer? And guess what I have not gotten? I hadn't gotten a report that any dispatcher over the past year and a half has completed that training to get certified. Without certified dispatchers, we don't have quality dispatchers. They are problematic calls. The other thing that I pushed for was raising the salary for the wages for the dispatchers to $15, because they were actually making $12 an hour. Another problem Chief Ashley had was they have to work 4 hours of overtime as part of their normal functioning. But they don't get paid for it, because his justification is that they're first responders, and by law, they need to be on the same schedule. Well, guess what those people have to do? They have to use 4 hours of their leave time to cover the 4 hours that they don't get paid in order to get paid for the number of hours that they actually work. That is not right. That is what has been going on. We have issues now where, very specific issues, where the hostile work environment is well documented and has been well investigated. And I'd had nothing to do, I recused myself from the investigations. Investigations were handled with the city attorney, HR director, and also an outside attorney to ensure that this was an objective process. Those findings will be conclusive. Just like this PBA survey, climate survey, it's conclusive. And I want to make sure that you have the copies of this survey, but just let me read a couple things for you. And these support some of the issues that I'm forced to deal with. When it talks about information sharing, out of 20 respondents, 13 said poor, 5 said fair. Leadership by the command staff, out of 20 respondents, 17 said poor, 2 said fair. How would you rate overall morale within Quincy Police Department? Very low. 15 respondents said very low, 3 said low. Any member of Quincy Police Department can file a grievance without fear of repercussions or management. 12 strongly disagree with that statement, 6 disagreed with it. Personnel rules and regulations are applied equally to all employees. 11 employees said strongly disagree, 5 more said that they disagree. Little or no favoritism shown in the promotional process. 12 said strongly disagree, 5 said disagree. Little or no favoritism shown in Quincy Police Department, period. 11 said strongly disagree, 7 said disagree. Disciplinary action taken by the department are fair and commensurate with the complaint and violation. 14 said strongly disagree, 4 said disagree. The city of Quincy provides adequate equipment for me to be proficient and effective in the performance of my duties. 7 said strongly disagree, 5 said disagree. I have strong confidence in I have confidence in the staff's ability to lead the department. 11 said strongly disagree, 8 said disagree. The Quincy Police Department takes an interest in the overall safety of its employees. 9 said strongly disagree, 3 said disagree, and I feel that politics creates safety problems for me and my job. Interesting there, was kind of across the board. 8 said that they strongly agree that politics creates safety problems for me and my job. 6 agreed with that, and then we had 6 that said they disagree or strongly disagree. If you could change anything, any one thing within the police department, what would it be? Command staff was one response. Command staff are battling each other daily and causing conflict. The rate of pay is horrible. It takes a lot of time away from family, and you have to work overtime to survive. Another comment was shortage of staff. Leadership needs to be improved as well as morale. Administration. I believe the interim chief is not qualified for the position. The assistant chief, Shamar, I believe he should not continue to perform in his role given the investigation surrounding him and his inability to form staff. And the last question, do you support Chief Ashley and his administration? 15 said no, 3 said yes. This is the information that we want to ignore, but I think that's part of the problem. For too long, we have ignored the men and women who put their lives on the line to save and protect you and me. These people have a voice, and it needs to be heard. I can't say anything negative about Tim Ashley's character. I like Tim Ashley. He's a likable person. He's a good person with a good heart. But I'm not here to evaluate his character and his good heart. I'm here to evaluate his performance. And his performance, while it shined in some areas, in the more meaningful areas right now, we can prove that it did not. And so it was a lot of consternation and sadness that I had to make the decision. But I'm prepared to defend it with documentation. I'm not referring to anything that has not been documented. I'm not referring to anything that is anonymous. There's no retaliation against Chief Ashley or his assistant chief because of anonymous letters. We're talking about the work product, and the work product consistency has been a problem. So with that, I'm prepared to answer any questions that the commissioners may have. I've met with you all privately. We have the documentation for you to view individually, but I want to wish Tim Ashley the best. I want to pray for this city and wish it the best. I will continue to do the best that I can, and I would encourage all of the citizens here who I believe mean good in their heart and are coming for good reasons. I want them to continue to be involved in this process. They need to be heard as well. We've all got to deal with things that we like and we don't like in order to make this city better, but it's going to require all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we move on, I have a question for our parliamentary. Now, I received a request to speak after I had moved on in the agenda. Do I?
Now, the question is, when I was brought outside to address that issue, I believe they said that it was sent off to you through the clerk, but however, it wasn't called.
Because I didn't get it till after we had moved on the agenda. And that was the reason that I didn't call it, because we were in a different place. We had already completed that segment of the agenda, and I didn't want to interrupt the individual that was speaking at the time. So should I call them before the commission now?
I would err on the side of having the person speak, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, we're going to take a little break from our agenda, and I have one more person speak. Ms. Stacy Hannigan, could you please come forward and give us your address and your name for the record?
Good evening, Board and Commissioners. Stacy Hannigan. I'll give the city's address because I'm not speaking as a resident but I'm speaking as a city employee. For those who do not know, I serve as the Human Resources and Risk Management Director. An uncomfortable situation I'm in this evening. Excuse the trembling in my voice because I'm one of those who believe in standing for what's right. I'll start by reading an email that I sent today to our city attorney and that I copied our city manager on because I was placed in a very uncomfortable situation. This email was sent at 5:13 p.m. and it says, "Good afternoon, Attorney Roberts. It has come to my attention that correspondence was delivered today to one of our employees, which specifically mentioned that I was consulted on a matter to prohibit that employee from attending tonight's commission meeting. For the record, I had no part in any discussion involving this matter. I did not provide guidance to any staff member on this matter, and I was not copied on this correspondence. I'm requesting that if there will be any correspondence provided internally or externally citing my involvement in any matters that I am made aware prior to such correspondence being disseminated and that I am provided a copy of such. It is my intent to seek any and all remedies available to me in addressing this deliberate, dishonest, and misleading action taken on the part of a law enforcement officer. In addition, it has been brought to my attention that staff have communicated to individuals internally and externally my supposed position on the matter involving the termination of Police Chief Ashley. My communication on this matter has been limited to meetings with yourself, the city attorney, the city manager, and most recently, former interim Chief Sheehan. For anyone to attempt to undermine the work I am doing for the city of Quincy as the Human Resources and Risk Management Director is unprofessional, it's unwarranted, and it's deceiving at the least. I have always been very forthcoming and spoken comfortably and openly with you and the city manager regarding my position on this and other matters. I consider the meetings and conversations that we've had to be professional dialogue with an overarching goal to make the best decisions for the city. To now arrive at this juncture where my professionalism is being undermined internally and being conveyed in a misleading, untruthful manner is truly disheartening. As this matter continues involving the Chief, Assistant Chief Shamar, the Quincy Police Department, and any other matters that will require my involvement in my professional capacity, I find it to be in my best interest to request whistleblower protection as well as protection from retaliation.
I think that's 3 minutes.
The reason for I am so far from being finished.
I believe in 3 minutes.
That's 3 minutes. That's 3 minutes. That's 3 minutes.
I believe her 3 minutes are up.
I am not appearing, I'm not appearing as a citizen.
She is appearing as an employee of the city.
That is out of order. Employees should not open the air grievances before this commission. That is not proper order. That is out of
Excuse
order.
me, excuse me, excuse me. Excuse me, that's enough. We won't be doing that any longer. Please, let's follow decorum. I'm asking advice from our parliamentarian, our city attorney. If Ms. Hannigan comes up and asks to speak during the citizens.
She gets the same rights and respect that we gave every citizen at that time.
But you didn't record it. You can see it.
No, ma'am.
If I may,
Don't go back and forth.
if I may make a request of the board, I was not going to approach the board because I respect the city that I worked for, and I respect the dais. However, the manager I really did not think the manager was going to respond to everything that took place. But as he has, and I serve as the HR director, comments have been made very specific that involve me and my position with the city. And the only recourse I thought I had was to inform you via paper that I would like to address these concerns. So as I stated at the onset, I am not appearing as a citizen. I'm standing before you all as a human resources director, and statements have been made regarding decisions that were made that involved me specifically.
Okay, but I believe, that's
enough, yeah.
That's enough. I think we'll have to call it a day at that, because it was placed on the citizens to be heard part of the agenda, not as an addition to the agenda for a presentation. So that's why I'm limiting you to 3 minutes, like everyone else. Attorney.
What's that again?
Excuse me. No comment from the audience, please. Attorney?
No, that's
you
fine. The
agree
3
with that?
minutes. 3 minutes. Yes.
Manager
Thank you.
Nixon,
I don't respond.
did you have a comment?
I wouldn't respond. I'll respond.
Okay. No comment?
No comment.
Okay. Excuse me. There won't be any comments. We're gonna show some decorum. I know this is a very, very heated situation, but we need to respect one another, and we need to respect the commission, and we need to respect our city. Moving right along, the next person is our city clerk. Do you have any comments? And then our city attorney.
No comment. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay.
No comment, Mayor.
Commissioner Harris?
No comment, thank
Commissioner Wood, I'm sorry, Commissioner Dr. Wood, do you have any comments?
I do.
Yes, ma'am. Please go ahead.
Thank you. It's been a long night.
Yes.
It's been a lot said. Before I get into what most people are here for tonight, let me just discuss a couple of things first. I want to thank all the public comments for tonight. I want to thank those who voiced their opinions. I want to say Happy Veterans Day to our veterans. The sacrifices that you've made for this country have not gone unnoticed. Happy birthday to the U.S. Marine Corps. This week is American Education Week. As we get closer to the holiday season, it's unfortunate that our city is where we are tonight. It seems that we take 2 steps forward and 5 back. I want to thank Mr. Bell and Public Works for helping with District 1. There have been some things that I've been concerned about. We must keep our district clean. It starts with you at your house, in your business. Please help us to help you. Thank you, Interim Chief Sheehan. Your assistance for my concerns have not been unnoticed. I appreciate all that you did for District 1 and the citizens during your tenure. We must move this city forward. We should not be on the news as the people that are having this many issues. This is a great city. I love being a part of the city of Quincy. No, I'm not a native, but I've been here over 30 years, so it's home. I've raised my 2 kids here, who are now adults. We must conduct city business. I'm going to keep it real with you tonight. Our job is to answer to each and every one of you as our citizens. I've thought long and hard about what I would say tonight, and I didn't really know until I heard from some people tonight. I think someone said tonight, and I quote, "This is a mess." Now, do we want our city to be thought of as a mess? I think not. The chief of police, as well as the fire chief, play a critical role in ensuring public safety. They are responsible for managing and directing their respective departments to provide effective and efficient services to the community. Public safety is too important of an issue to expect that one person can take this on. The commission is here. There are things that we need to know before they happen, not after they happen. I'm disappointed that some things did not come through this commission, even though I've been told they're day to day. But the city chief of police, the fire chief, play an intricate role in public safety. And if we are elected on this dais to answer to the citizens of Quincy, Florida, we need to know some things. Now, if the commission voted to approve the appointment of the chief of police, I would think that we should have a say in the firing of the same. Commissioners, though not responsible, and I'll say again, for the day-to-day, per charter, should still know some things about what's going on in the city of Quincy Police Department and the city of Quincy Fire Department. Again, I point to public safety. If situations arise, and we just heard it tonight, we have a mess. I have a climate survey, but let me tell you something. A climate survey should have adequate representation of the entire police department, or at least a relative percentage. This is 20 people. So what I am asking, and this is going to be a hard pill to swallow for some, but we need more oversight. I am going to reference Ordinance Section 2.15, that says investigations and independent audit. I'm gonna go to the investigations. The commission may make investigations into the affairs of the city and conduct of any city department, office, or agency, and for this purpose may, now this comes from you, may subpoena witnesses, administer oaths, take testimony, and require the production of pertinent evidence of any kind. Section 2.15. We have to do better than what we're doing. We owe it to the citizens. I am making a motion that we, the city commissioner, be given oversight of the fire department and the police department. It would require a change in the charter. That is my motion.
Is there a second?
Second it.
Question.
Go ahead.
So is there a process, Mr. Attorney, what would be the process for the charter revision? And would that need to come prior to?
Well,
Can oversight be just assumed by this commission prior to?
You know, funny thing is, knowing that this matter was coming up, I did do some research, and like Mr. Attorney McLean said, is very few cities across the state of Florida who have used this particular ordinance. And one of the cities was Bonifay, Florida, where the police chief was discharged. And in that city, the mayor appoints the police chief, and the mayor discharges the police chief. Our ordinance is not like that. Our ordinance states we have a city manager-centered ordinance where he deals with the micro issues of the city, and the commission deal with oversight. So we'll have to have a charter amendment to even start that process. But first, we have to see if this motion even carries before we get to that point. But we would need a revision of the charter for that, to give the oversight to the commissioners.
And would that not change our form of government?
It would definitely change the form of government.
What form? Are we going to a strong mayor? I think these are all things
maybe,
that
that's
have to be
matter,
taken. I mean, if the mayor is in charge of the fire and police department, that changes our form of government to
it would change
to an elected position for mayor.
It would change it. It's a seismic change.
I guess a point of information. Commissioner Wood, can you, I guess, give me a little more information as to what you mean by oversight? Because I think the manager, the attorney, you were referring to the current statute that puts where we are tonight.
Yes.
I think I'm hearing something different from the commissioner.
Yeah.
I guess I'm trying to get clarity. In terms of oversight, could you share just a little bit more about, in terms of,
Well,
what do you mean?
I think that putting this position, both of them, in the hands of one person is negligent on our part. I would not want to have that in the palm of my hands as one person. It really deserves some type of investigation, some type of, and now, people say, oh, but it's day to day. You're talking about the city of police chief that covers the entire city of Quincy. What are we if we are not owed some type of explanation, some type of documentation every time somebody's hauled into an office that says you've done ABC that's over? We just deserve to know. And some things we have not known, like some of the things that even the city manager just brought out. I had no idea. I am a city commissioner on this dais, and did everybody else know and I didn't? I'm just asking. Okay, because that's my issue. So why is it that, and that's what I'm trying to get at, how can we get this to where the commissioners have some type of something, put something in front of us as the process is going? If anyone has violated their oath or their office, then we should know about it before you've gotten to the point where you fired them. That's my point, and that would be for anybody. You know, we at least deserve to, we owe them that.
Well, your concern, now, your charter is written decades ago, and you inherited it. And we have made changes to the charter before. It took us over 40 years to even redistrict, and that happened. But we have a charter provision, 2.04, that speaks to exactly what you're talking about. No, 2.04. It's appointments and removals, and it talks about when someone is removed from office. It says neither the commissioner or any of his members shall in any manner dictate the appointment or removal of any city administrative officer or employee whom the city manager or any of his subordinates is empowered to appoint. But the commissioners, while in open session, this is where we are, or in executive session, may express their views and fully and freely discuss with the city manager anything pertaining to the appointment and removal of such officers and employees. And that's exactly what we're doing. So that gives you the oversight. If this oversight needs to be expanded, that's a different argument. But it does give you the oversight in open or executive session like we're in now to communicate. But the day-to-day activities as far as who's employed or not employed rests with the city manager. We were sued because because the former city manager said his powers were infringed upon. We actually had a lawsuit because of that.
Which is why I'm asking about the change.
Yeah, no, that's so we
can
do. But I'm just saying is that we do have that provision written into where this is an opportunity to vet what the decision of the city manager was for the lack of retention of former Chief Ashley.
Commissioner Dr. Nash?
Yes, I'm in agreement with Commissioner Dr. Wood in some form or fashion, and thank you for bringing up the executive session. I've not seen any documentation, any physical evidence, any data, any personnel action forms, anything but verbiage to lead me to understand how the city manager arrived at his decision. I think that's a disservice. And if it exists, we need to go in the executive session and see that information so that we can be thoroughly abreast and have some type of oversight and give back better comments and observations. Because like that, right now, I got information from the street committee. That's the most valid information I have. Whatever information I got, the street committee brought to me. Okay? I just had a briefing on yesterday at 11 o'clock about the special presentation. Again, weeks after a decision and an action had been taken. Now, it's hard-pressed to tell citizens that this is day-to-day and this is not our business and it's not their business. I'm hard-pressed to say that to my citizens, who I'm responsible for, who I answer for, who elected me to bring to them the best information, the best actions and decisions I can make on their behalf. When I have no facts and no evidence, I can't make intelligent decisions. And I am an intelligent thinking, critical thinking, fact-finding, research kind of person. I'm logical. And if you do not walk me through your steps, then you may have a problem. Okay? And maybe your steps are not logical and they're not in tune with what needs to happen. That's part of my frustration. We can talk a good game, but can we walk it? Can we really walk it? Because without something that says to me and leads me to that conclusion, I'm hard pressed to bring to my constituents the best answer to this mess that we're in. And they looking at me like, how can you be a commissioner? How can you be a commissioner? And why are you a commissioner if you can't bring me back some decisions and some action plans and better information? That puts me in an uncomfortable and embarrassing situation. And I sit here tonight embarrassed, fully, and I'm a whole person. And I'm totally embarrassed. I don't like it that we have to be on the television doing this kind of thing. I don't like it at all, because I think we better. So, unless we need to have an executive session to see the facts. And I employ my commissioners to want to be able to do that too. If not, what are you doing? What are you making your opinions and answering questions from your constituents with? That should be where you want to be too, with me, in terms of an executive session, looking at the facts, going back and forth, asking questions, reviewing, analyzing the data and the information, and checking that with the law and our personnel policies. Now, if we don't have no personnel policies in place, then that's another problem. But we deserve, our people, our employees deserve it for us to be fair and just and operate with some type of integrity and order and decency. Our employees, and you as citizens, deserve it. So, oversight, yes. Let's have an executive meeting to hash out what the facts are.
Before we go to Commissioner Harris, are you making a motion? Are you?
Well, we didn't finish our motion.
We have
one motion on the table.
Right. We have one motion on the table. So
and I'll make a motion after that's completed.
But, Commissioner Harris, do you want to address her? Or Commissioner Dr. Nash's?
Discussion on the motion.
Discussion on this, okay.
Discussion on the motion.
Thank you.
The attorney has pointed out 2 areas of oversight for this commission in terms of open discussion, being able to ask questions openly from the dais of pretty much anything that deals with appointments or removals. And he's also pointed out, Commissioner Dr. Wood pointed out Section 2.15 of the charter that allows for a commission investigation. I think to get to what we want and what we're asking for, this commission is asking for tonight, I think this commission should take advantage of the 2.15 section of the charter and move forward with the investigation of the police department to get the answers that we're asking for on this particular matter. Okay. That would be my suggestion, as opposed to assuming the oversight at this moment. Not that I disagree, I just think at this moment we need to flesh out what would that look like organizationally, because you're right, that will change the form of government, and we would be moving to a strong mayor form of government if we are to oversee, I think, a department of such. I don't know. But I think we should take advantage of the ability to investigate the police department to gain those answers that we're looking for.
And in all fairness, we
wait,
do have
one second.
one
Let's-
commissioner out.
Yes.
I would, suggest, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I would suggest that, I know what's done is done. The firing has happened. However, I would also suggest that we wait on a permanent decision on that until we have a full commission so that we can consider the 2.15.
Are you withdrawing your
If that's
motion then?
okay, because my motion was not about because that's already here. We already have the power
So-
to investigate.
So are you withdrawing your
Well,
motion? Are you wanting to keep your motion? I just want clarity here. Your motion was, okay, we'll go
For
back.
us to assume oversight.
Okay, yes. I think the attorney made that clear that we could have an open discussion
Right.
in a public, so I will withdraw that motion since it's
Okay.
already
Okay.
part of the
You could re-agenda
charter.
it.
However, I will ask that we go forth with that section 2.15, that we hold off on any major decisions, investigations, as Commissioner Harris has stated, because we need to do our due diligence because due process is a real thing. And we need to allow that to take its course.
Commissioner Dr. Nash?
I offer a motion that we agenda.
What about the last, is the last motion dead?
She just withdrew.
She withdrew it.
Yeah, because it's already stated.
Okay, you okay?
No, go ahead, yes, thank you, go ahead.
All right, I offer a motion that an executive session be agendaed at our next meeting.
Question.
Is it under?
No.
Question, Mayor.
Let me deal with it. The executive session could
don't
only
think we
be
can.
conducted if there's pending litigation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's no pending litigation.
Do we not have Shamar? And he was mentioned in here?
You,
In
You can't.
the presentations and in the information?
but you can't
That's
have it,
pending litigation?
but it's dealing specifically with the lawsuit. Mayor, can you stop the
No,
person from the
please,
audience
please.
from interfering
Sir,
with this
Mr.
discussion?
Mr. McLean?
No,
Mr. McLean?
it's 2.15 that you're referring to?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. McLean, please. Mr. McLean, please, please. Enough. Okay, let's go forward. I'm sorry.
So the
I was gonna-
2.15 is already a part
Oh,
of the,
and we have those
Right.
powers.
and we
Okay, so we
already
don't have to
those
agenda it,
powers.
or do we have to, we just have to call for it?
We can call for, I believe we
I
can
have
offer.
called
It's
for it.
that, I call for an investigation
Yes.
of the police department, but I also want an investigation of the city manager's office because, excuse me, because there's double jeopardy in this whole process. And if we're gonna find the truth, we find it from the top to the bottom, and we work it through.
And Commissioner, if I may, it does say city and conduct of any city department, office, or agency. So that is a part of the section I referred to, which is
You're correct.
2.15.
Yes, not-
That allows this commission to go forward with that because it is already a part of the charter.
And independent, I want a forensic investigation. Because I understand the difference. And Attorney Roberts, you cannot do it.
Mayor,
Yes. If you have a comment, I have some questions before you
well,
comment very quickly
well,
on the.
I just want to
Okay,
say,
go ahead.
and I apologize, because we got to bring some order to what we're doing.
Yes.
First of all, I think, Mayor, I don't know when I know we won't have another meeting, but we obviously need to call a special meeting very soon. And I think this commission needs to determine how we move forward and what the process of the investigation looks like. And any parameters that we set, this commission need to set it in a special meeting.
I agree.
Voting on all the parameters
With
of
all the-
how, with all five of us, on how that looks moving forward for whatever the investigation is. Now, we can vote tonight to move forward to 15 on both departments. I have no problem with that. I'm prepared to support that, but I think a special meeting needs to be called under the advice of council so that we can have a set order of how we proceed and move forward with this to arrive at what we're trying to achieve.
I appreciate your addendum, your information. I agree. Order and decency needs to be a part of that, and there is a model and a process that needs to be conducted. So, do you need a vote on it? Does it need to
You
be
need to
seconded?
clarify your motion.
What is the motion?
The motion is to, under
That's right.
2.15.
I already got it up.
Under 2.15, the ability of the commission to make investigations into the affairs of the city and the conduct of any department, office, or agency, and for the purpose may subpoena witnesses, administer oaths, take testimony, and require the production of evidence of any kind. I offer a motion that the commission conduct that independent investigation, or be responsible, or, well, conduct the investigation.
Are you going to be specific on the department?
For the police department and the city mayor's office.
Thank you.
Manager's office, I'm sorry.
I second.
That's fine, I got it.
All right, we have a motion before the commission to, under 2.15, to open an investigation into the police chief.
Police department.
And
The
whole
city
police
manager.
department, the entire police department?
Yes, at this point, it's in disarray and dysfunctional, and we need to understand what's going on.
And the city manager's office?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so, it's been properly moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to
Motion carries 4-0.
I'd like to schedule that special meeting if we possibly could. If it's
Go
okay.
ahead, no, go ahead.
If we could,
Just not a Monday or Friday. Afternoon.
I agree with you on that.
You said not a Monday.
Not a Monday.
Afternoon.
I'm off next week.
Next week?
Now,
Can we,
next week
can we
I
do the
I can
21st?
do Monday or Friday because my husband will be home
Oh.
to transport him.
Can we do the
The
20th?
20th,
The 20th, what day of the week is that?
May 20th, November 20th.
November 20th? At what time? 5? 6?
That's fine.
5?
And Mayor, the purpose of that meeting would be to set the procedures going forward.
Forward, yes,
Okay,
sir.
thank you.
And so the, Attorney Roberts, will you help with setting the procedures going forward? How does that specifically work?
I would like, I mean, if we could give the attorney time to bring us
I'll-
a suggestion and then we move forward from
And
there.
if I'm gonna, like the Commissioner Nash said, recuse myself, I would like whoever it is that we retain to actually set the parameters rather than giving the parameters by
Okay.
myself.
But then that would take a vote of the commission to have the attorney recuse. to
Yes,
her.
yes.
That would take a vote, so then that would push it back, so.
Right.
So we do that in a special meeting.
In order
I'm sorry.
for a outside attorney, in order for our city attorney to recuse himself, that's gonna take a vote of the commission.
Correct.
And so, and the attorney just stated that if he's going to be asked to recuse himself, then he'd much rather ask the outside attorney to set the procedures as opposed to him setting the procedures.
So we won't be, so that'll limit us in ability to do the meeting on the 20th because,
Well, it would just limit us to voting on whether or not the attorney will recuse himself unless we're prepared to undertake that tonight.
We can vote for, you mean a vote
To whether or not he remains.
well, my only issue with that is we have a commission.
I understand.
And I just,
I feel-
this is,
But we
this,
have a quorum, though.
I realize we have a quorum, but I also like for everyone to have a voice in this because this commissioner has constituents also
Yeah.
that she has to.
And I totally respect that, Mayor, and like I said, I'm open either way.
And I have to question, excuse me, I have to question from our attorney, I know that commissioners can make a motion at any time, but when we get into something as, like the attorney recusing himself during a commissioner's comments, there's no issue with that, correct?
No, there's called motions, yeah.
Commissioners can make motions anytime.
Okay. All
So
right.
it's the will of the commission.
Yeah, I think we should, just because we're here and we're trying to get this done expeditiously, I think we need to vote for the recusal tonight, not put it off for 2 or 3 more meetings. So let's take care of it. In my opinion, I think we should do it right now. And just to be clear, I'm not necessarily asking for a strong mayor, and we'll talk about that in our meeting. Okay? That's not what I'm asking.
Okay, the motion for, who makes, the motion for the,
Well, the issue, we're getting kind of out of order here, because you had the floor, you made the motion, then Commissioner Dr. Nash made a second motion.
Well, she
before we
withdrew her
went-
original
she withdrew hers, and you recognized
Let me finish,
me.
please, let me finish, and I did recognize you to speak on the motion. So now, I'm trying to figure out who's got the floor. That's my big question.
Well, this will be a new motion, right?
'Cause
We're doing the
you know-
recusal now. Or did
Okay.
we finish Dr. Nash, did we finish?
no,
your
you didn't
motion?
carry, yeah, you carried my motion and it passed.
Yes.
Okay, and I was raising my hand to put in the,
But this isn't a necessarily raise your hand type of situation, because you have the floor, so go ahead and finish your comments, because this is the,
We voted on the 2-15, correct?
Yes.
correct,
Yes.
and it passed.
Okay.
So if you have some comments to continue,
yeah, I have some comments, but I was going to entertain the motion to agree to the attorney recusing himself and selecting an outside consultant
Well,
or attorney.
my question is, this really, Commissioner Dr. Wood, I don't know if she ever finished her comments, okay? And now she's making motions when you have the floor.
I'll let her finish.
Okay.
I give her the rest of the time to
Okay.
finish her comments.
Yes, I
Okay.
yield to Commissioner Nash.
So-
Dr. Nash.
Dr. Nash.
Okay. Okay. Is this the point where I make a motion?
Yes.
I'll make my comments only.
You can make
Make
a
a
motion
motion
now.
in your comment.
We
You're
need
at the
a
motion
motion.
in your
You've already.
Okay,
made
okay,
a
I-
motion.
Okay.
Oh, I see.
I make a motion. I make a motion that Attorney Roberts recuse himself from the investigation. However, he may seek out an outside investigator to conduct 2.15.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion before the floor for the Attorney Roberts to recuse himself from the investigation. It's been probably moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Roll call. Roll call.
Roll call. Okay, Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Commissioner Dr. Robert Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner Ronnie Harris,
No.
Commissioner Dr. Beverly Nash,
Yes.
Mayor Rita Bass.
No. So the motion
Okay.
fails.
Okay. Let me make my comments. I'd like to thank customer service, particularly Ms. Carroll, for assisting me with the customer. Her staff, along with herself, truly understand the importance of building relationship and respect. To District 5 and the City of Quincy, I wish all of you a safe and blessed Thanksgiving. This year, instead of worrying about the turkey and dressing, be grateful for the people who are still here with you, your family and friends. Please be safe. City Manager Nixon, I need some reports. Code enforcement, the last report I think I received was July 14th. I need an update on District 5, please. Also, City Manager, I need your evaluation, your contract, as well as I need to see a succession plan. Is there one in place? Can anybody tell me, is there one in place?
What do you mean succession plan?
If in case he leaves the city of Quincy.
Oh, we'll just convene and hire a new person.
Oh, okay, so that's all? That's all?
That's normally what happened, yeah.
Oh, okay, all right, thank you. As I stated earlier, I'm a little frustrated with the situation. And restating others, yes, this is a mess, this is a crisis. I'm not sure if anybody at the city understands crisis management, but, and if we have a crisis plan in place. I've received calls from citizens. Citizens have described this situation as a cesspool. Another one described it as the Titanic getting ready to crash. Another citizen said to me that this situation is all about the city manager. You know, that puts me in an embarrassing situation. And it affects us all. It affects the city of Quincy here and now. It affects what we believe in. Our professional and personal relationships have been destroyed. Our public trust, our organization, and our people in general. Again, I got briefed on yesterday at 11 o'clock, which I thought was a little late for all the things that were going on. You know, I believe in timeliness and validity of information, and I don't really feel that that's happening in order for us to have an effective communication piece within the city and allow our city to move forward. I'm obsessed with quality. I love quality. And I think it's essential to the functioning of a well-ran city. However, I'm not sure what's happening now. I'm not really sure. Threat assessments haven't been done. A feasibility study wasn't done, and we get a survey the night of the meeting. So that leaves us no time to really review it, look over it, and analyze, and even ask questions. No time at all. My experiences with the police department. Many of you may or may not know, I was a city volunteer. I was the grant manager. I was the interim city manager. And now I'm the city commissioner for District 5. All of my experiences have been totally different from what I've heard from the city manager in terms of my relationship with the police department and what has been laid out tonight. Never, and I mean never, did I have any management decisions, decision-making, personality, procedural issues, policy, or professional issues with Chief Ashley. Never. Please underline that. Therefore, like you, I was caught by surprise and provided a layer of really dismays. Given the charter, ordinance, and policy, yes, we are under that umbrella where we don't deal with day-to-day. We're not supposed to dip and dab in it at all. But I know there are 3 people who the city is responsible for, as well as the health and well-being of this city. And I think that because of that, we do have a responsibility. We need a police department that will protect our city, value ethics and integrity, and deal with fairness and justice, transparency, and restore the public trust. Right now, I don't see that we have a plan. I haven't heard a plan. It's not in writing. So if you've seen one, please help me out and let me see it as well. I think this executive session would benefit us because we need to see the evidence. We need to see the reason why, so that we be positioned to help to move this city forward and resolve the mess that has occurred. At this point, I truly have no confidence in the city manager's decisions and actions that he's taken. Okay, because again, I'm a critical thinker, I'm a logical person, and I need my facts and data before I judge, terminate anybody. City manager, the governor, and this is related to the city employees, announced state office closures, 4 new additional days, but our next commission meeting is on the 28th, so that November 22nd date, we won't be able to pass or do anything about it. But he has offered state workers December 26th, December 29th, January 2nd as additional days off. Can you determine for us the feasibility, see if the county is considering it, and these additional days, and provide us a recommendation on this dais or an agenda item so that our employees can get the same benefits as the state workers and maybe the county if they're considering it. Thank you.
All righty. Well, we've had a very interesting evening tonight, and it's very long, so I won't spend a lot of time on this. I've gotten a lot of information provided, and we've had a lot of citizens come before us with very conflicting, differing opinions. And that's what makes a democracy. Everybody's opinion counts. Everybody's voice counts. Now, you might not always agree with me, and I might not always agree with you, but that doesn't make any one of us any less important. We're all important, and we all need respect. I will have our meeting on the 20th, and I have a few things I want to announce. Number one, on Thursday, November 16th, we'll have an unveiling of a sign on the end of East King Street, right inside the city limits, that will honor our Medal of Honor winner, Lieutenant Commander William M. Corey, Jr. I moved here 30 years ago, and I didn't even realize until 5 years ago that we actually had a Medal of Honor winner from this city and from this county. It's the highest honor our country has, and there's only 24 in the state of Florida, and we have one here. And so we'll have the sign that everybody knows that the city of Quincy has a Medal of Honor winner. And I want to take the time to thank everybody that was involved in Trunks or Treats, everybody that came to the Shaw Quarters Day and helped out with it. I want to thank the city manager, the commissioners that came. I think everybody had a really, really fun evening. Every year, the event gets larger and larger. I want to announce that we're having our Christmas parade on the 1st. I hope to see everybody out. And there's one thing I've been meaning to say thank you about, and I don't see Mr. Bell anymore, but former Chief Sheehan, I know he and Mr. Bell and several city employees worked with this citizen that we have here who was living on the streets for several years. For years and years, I got calls because she was on a corner and people were concerned about her. Then when Assistant Chief Sheehan took control and Reggie Bell, they got together and they got her to move back to her home. I have known this lady since I moved to Quincy 30 years ago. Well, as soon as she's off this corner, I start getting phone calls. Where is she? What happened to her? Okay, so I tried to find out what happened. And in speaking with Assistant Chief Sheehan, I learned that city employees, Mr. Bell, Assistant Chief Sheehan, mental health professionals, got this lady back in her house. And now I have seen her walking around Quincy, but I haven't seen her back in the place where she's lived for the last couple of years. And I had the good fortune of walking into Winn-Dixie a couple of weeks ago, and who's but standing right there at the meat case right next to me. And I said, well, hello. And I saw a face that I have not seen in years. That sweet, kind person I used to know that had left her spoke back to me, and I could see she was doing so much better. She looked so much better. So there is a big handed thank you to Assistant Chief Sheehan, to Reggie Bell, all the officers and the people from the city that helped this one lady get off the streets, get back into her home, and to be safe and to be happy again and to smile again. It takes a whole community to look out for each other. And one of the reasons I moved to Quincy, because we were small enough that we knew each other and we could look out for each other. Actions like this, whether they be from a city employee or just a citizen on the street, they make us great because we know one another and we look out for one another. Coming into the Thanksgiving holidays, I agree 100%. We need to turn around and we need to say thank you for everything we had. I know tonight was tumultuous, but the majority of this city is good. We have good people with good hearts and with giving hearts. So with that, I would like to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone and ask for a motion to adjourn.
May I, before we adjourn, I need to address the attorney about something that I didn't with the 2.15.
Okay.
Attorney Roberts, could you advise the commission, once an investigation is completed, okay, if you don't find any fault, does that reinstate the person to their job, or how does that work?
This commission has no power to reinstate. Now, I know someone may disagree with that, but my reading of the statute gives the former Chief Ashley the opportunity to come before this body to be heard on his termination. But the city manager governs all employees hiring and firing.
In
the city commission
charter.
Yes,
Right,
and the city commissioners are prohibited from getting involved in that, and the prohibition is stated in 2.04, interference with the administration. And it lays out, and it goes except for the purpose of the inquiry under 215, which is the carve out. The commission or its members shall deal with the city officers and employees who are subject to the direction and supervision of the city manager solely through the city manager, and neither the commission nor its members shall give orders to any such officer or employee, either publicly or privately. A violation of this provision shall constitute a misdemeanor to be prosecuted and punished as provided by state law. This is the charter I inherited as an attorney, and what you inherit as a commissioner, so be mindful of that. It is written into your charter.
All right, and then the second, last thing, Mayor, excuse my time, I forgot to mention in my comments that I would like to request evaluations for our city clerk, city attorney, city manager by the last day of December 2023.
Okay.
Because we keep talking it, but we have not done it.
Yes, that's true.
So that is a definitive date for me, December, last day, the 31st, 2023, evaluations by this commissioner of all three, city clerk, city manager, and the city attorney. And that is all. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay. I'm ready.
So moved.
Second.
I need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I need a motion. You said so.
Second.
Yeah.
All right, so moved.
We're done.